This is She Goes Beyond, and I'm your host, Victoria Fregis. Here we're dedicated to changing the status quo and building a powerful community of women who can do it all. Who says you only have to be one thing? So grab your rod or your bow and tune in to the stories of women who love the same things that you do. You never know, you might just meet your next best friend. The girl everyone loves. Seriously. One of the most genuine, kind, real women out there who lives for every moment in the outdoors. A mom to two littles, she packs a punch when it comes to getting her kids set up and prepared to have action and success in the woods. In this episode, she talks to us about their 2025 turkey season thus far, which, let me tell you, has been a hell of a year already, how they prep and choose properties to sit on between the four of them, tips on asking private landowners to hunt on their land, and at the end, we giggle about some random girly questions. Please welcome my sweet friend, Kayla Laitinen. Fun. Well, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, I like seeing you. Maybe we should Zoom more often.
Zoom all the time, yeah.
How's life?
Good. It's good.
Good.
I went for a drive after my workout and looked for some turkeys and didn't see any, but
Oh, dang it.
pretty much life right now. I'm gonna go for a turkey drive, I always say. We just drive around, look for birds.
I love that. Well, I feel like I don't have enough time to do that, and I need to start making more time for those kinds of things because I think that's an important piece of scouting.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, Kayla, welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on here. I know you were like, I'm just a good old girl, good old hunter girl. I don't do all this extra stuff. Like, don't
This
make
is
me.
my first podcast and like being on video, I'm just like, oh, okay.
You
We're
got
doing
it.
it.
We're doing it. We're doing it. Well, let's just jump right in. Tell us how your weekend was.
We had an excellent weekend. You want me to like jump into stories or I
Yeah.
mean,
Tell us all about it.
awesome. So this weekend was the youth hunt in Wisconsin here. The kids get I think it's like 16 and under. I could be wrong there, but they get the Saturday, Sunday hunt, which starts before like our actual turkey season. And both our kids love to turkey hunt. They've been turkey hunting for a couple years now. I think this will be Teal's fourth year, and this was Reed's third year.
Okay.
So here was like extra special because this year youth hunt the first day landed on Reed's birthday. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, we have to get him like a birthday bird. Like that was our total goal. And this year or years prior, I hadn't been with when Reed shot two other turkeys and I hadn't been along for either of them. So this year we're like, okay, do we divide and conquer? Do we try to put like all four family members in like one blind? Like, how do we do this? And
Yeah.
we kind of came to like the conclusion of probably best if just like two of us or one parent goes with each kid. And since I haven't been with last year, I Teal shot one with me. Um, so this year I'm like, okay, it's got to be Reed and I. So that was, I'm just like, so that was like this little extra like worry of mine, like all like a couple weeks ahead of time. I'm like, okay, how are we gonna make this work? We gotta get him a birthday bird. We gotta, make everything happen. And of course, I can't imagine Levi even thinks 1 second before the day, like what's gonna happen? What are we gonna do? And I'm thinking about it for like a month at a time. But anyway, it was great. We ended up dividing and conquer. We both went and hunted different properties. They're the same area, the same person owns them. Um, but different, like, different areas there. And Reed and I got down there, I don't know. It was probably like 5:30 we got into the blind and we had birds going the whole time, even on the walk out. So that was kind of nice. So we knew there were birds around. And then it was wild. We had maybe three birds behind us and we across the way. The way we're sitting, there's a woods behind us. And then in front of us, it's all this big ag field. And then on the other side of the ag field, there's a whole nother chunk of woods. So we had a couple birds behind us. I think it was like three. And then on the other woods that was like all the way across from us, I mean, it was like it was crazy. There, I was like, okay, there's gotta be like four birds going. They would gobble, gobble, but then right after those would stop gobbling, they would just light up again. So it was like nonstop gobbling. And I looked at Reed, I'm like, I don't know how many birds are over there, bud, but there's a lot of birds. And so he, he just a kid, he's just like, oh yeah, great, like cool.
Yeah. Just totally cool, calm, collected.
He's pretty, yeah, he's pretty chill. I mean, they both are chill, but he's just like, okay, whatever. And I think, I don't know, he kept thinking, he was like, oh, I think, what are they saying to each other? It was kind of funny. He was like, I wonder what they're saying to each other. Cause we were
Oh.
kind of laughing at like how crazy they were. Like, this was probably the most talking, gobbling I've ever heard in a morning. Like, it was pretty insane. He's like, I bet they're saying all sorts of swear words to each other. And I was like, I don't know if they're like, if they really say anything other than like, hey, I'm here or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That was kind of funny. But I don't know. I think it was like 6 o'clock, and I could tell, or the gobbling kind of, you can kind of tell when they hit the ground. But we ended up having one that like was on, it had to have been down on the corner of the field, and he lit up, and I'm like, oh, when you can tell, you're like, that one's on the ground,
Yeah.
that one's not that far away. I'm like, oh, buddy, like kind of get ready, or we got one on the ground, and of course he kind of, there's like the field there has like roll, almost like not like rolling hills, but of course there's like ups and downs like in that field. So a lot of times they'll come out and they'll like go to the backside of this hill that we can't really see. And that's exactly what he did. And eventually we did see him, and I'm like, oh man, I've seen this a few times before. I'm like, I don't know, bud. I think that one might hold up on us. He would gobble for us, but he wasn't coming to us. You could tell he was kind of just like, oh, why don't you come with me or head my way. And I'm just like, man, I don't know. He kind of stopped. It was probably like 80 yards, and he would just sit and strut and sit and strut and gobble. And I'm just like, I don't think he's coming. He wants us to go to him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't too much long after that I could hear the other birds too. And all of a sudden I see the time that we were watching, and he started like running at us. And I'm just like, oh, bud, he's coming our way. Like, get like up on the gun and just like be ready. And then he ran into about 30, 40 yards. And then he just like puffed up right in a strut. And you can hear that noise. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he ended up, I'm like, oh, I'm like, my heart is like going out of my chest. And I'm just like, Kayla, calm down, like, I don't need me getting him worked up about it. And
Right.
I'm, hey, buddy, like, we're going to have time. He's going to come right in. He's going to come in nice and slow. And he kind of did like the whole dance coming in. He would strut and then slowly, and then come out of a little bit, walk a little bit, then strut back up and like do like the turn and stuff. It was so perfect. And and Reed, I mean, the way I talk to the kids when we're hunting is like, I feel like I always, like, I talk to them how I talk to myself in my head, like, okay, he's going to come in, he's coming in slow, wait for this or like the good shot. So I was like telling him, I'm like, okay, buddy, he's coming in, he's strutting. And I said, we're going to wait. I just kind of waited to let him know. He's like, is he close enough yet? And I'm like, oh no, let's give him another little bit of time yet. And he ended up getting like into our decoys, and I'm just like, okay, buddy, like he's close enough now, but now we're gonna wait for him to turn so he's like facing us, not so it's like because he wouldn't really come out of the strut, and I didn't want to mess with him because he was so like the bird was into it. He wasn't had a worry in the world. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna shoot him when he's kind of strutting, which is fine. But I'm like, wait for him to like be head on with us. And then I said, whenever you're comfortable and he's facing head on with us, I'm just like, you take the shot, buddy, whenever you're ready, okay? And then, he took the shot and, dropped him. And it was like, it
Oh,
was perfect. It was perfect. And I kind of did a video afterwards, and it's hard because I wish you could video like to see our initial reaction. And I kind of looked at him, and his face was like, like, and we both kind of looked at her like, whoa, that just happened. I think we got to the blind at like it had to have been 5:30 ish because that was our goal, like be in the blind by 5:30. And then when he shot the bird, it was like 6:17. So I'm like, holy cow, birthday bird. We put him down. I mean, that bird got to the field at 6 o'clock, and we shot him at 6:17. And
woof.
that was a relief. Like, I'm like, that could not have gone any better. Like,
Yeah.
it was perfect.
Yeah. Seriously. Especially, you and Levi both hunt too, so you've got two kiddos, the two of
Yep.
you tags, like that's at least four tags to fill.
At
Like
least,
it's a big deal.
yeah. The main goal is always to get them one. And
Yeah.
I mean, and it's earlier too, since they have their own little season, but it's always like kids get birds and then we'll like clean up later, like wherever, because we're a little more mobile and we'll hunt some of the properties that are not as good sometimes, or like a closer one to home that is still good. It's just not as good. Like
Yeah.
we're super fortunate that the properties that we have down south of us, it's like 45-minute drive to get to these other properties. Phenomenal. I mean, they've just been tried and true. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't struggled there. I went one year that I didn't shoot a bird and I hunted there 4 weeks in a row. So I'm not saying it like is always dynamite, but like more often than not, it's dynamite. So like the kids are a little spoiled, I feel like, but kids should be spoiled. You know what I mean? Like find the love, and then every year I feel like you could always do something to try to challenge them. Like this year, Teal, I got to get into her story too, but it's like if we need to switch things up, we were talking about being like, okay, honey, well, tomorrow morning, if we got to switch stuff up and they're not going to be here where this blind is, we're going to set up on a tree and we're going to do it from the ground. She's like, oh, well, how are we going to do that? And I'm like, we're going to make it work and, figure it out this way. So like, that's another little fun challenge we can do with them. We haven't done much of like a run and gun,
Yeah.
um, type hunt with them yet, and I was like, well, this year might be kind of fun to at least set up on a tree, maybe not so much run and gun, but just something a little different where you're not in a blind always to make it, so they start learning how to turkey hunt in other ways too.
Yeah.
Um, and then Teal's hunt. So I can only say, like, I wasn't there. Teal and Levi hunted the other property right away in the morning, and they had birds there as well. Their birds kind of got down and they didn't come right to them. They went to the marsh and were messing around with the hens and stuff. And Reed and I had a bird down, so we were just driving around looking in the fields, and I'm texting Levi like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" And he's like, "I don't know. They're gobbling in the marsh. He's like, I think we're gonna have to wait them out, and wait till they come out in that later morning, which they usually often do." And they did end up, I don't know, maybe 9 o'clock. Levi goes, they texted and said that they had like three birds coming out of the marsh or something, or he said they're like 60 yards away, three times, and I'm like, as a parent, you like, I even get my heart gets going, and you're just like holding your breath. Okay, you're like, please let this work out. Please let this work out. And I kind of have to back up because normally the kids have been using a 410 for hunting, and it has like a red dot. It's like a hollow. I don't know what you call it. The sight. It's red dot, but it's not like a scope looking red dot. It's like a open sight type red dot.
Okay.
Uh, it's Vortex makes them. They're excellent. They're so cool. I wish I would have one on my gun, but it's not tapped for it. But Teal this year wanted to take her 20 gauge, and she wanted to use, just like the open sights like we do with the beads. So
Yeah.
we're like, she practiced with it. She's fine. Everything's good. So anyways, but they had three toms coming in, and apparently they came in and kind of bum rushed, and like she tried to like get on them, and they kind of she couldn't quite get on them in time because they were just being a little crazy. Well, then they had three other toms coming to chase these first three toms, and it was just like a whole lot of chaos going on, I guess. And she did end up taking a shot at the second group of three, and she ended up missing them. And then I'm like, or Levi finally got a text, and Levi goes, she missed. I'm like,
Oh,
shoot. Like I was a little worried about that because the new site thing, or situation, like it's just a little bit different for her, and you can pull your head, and I've done it. I've missed plenty of birds.
oh,
You're excited, your heart's going, and you're peeking, and you probably pulled the shot a little bit or
yeah.
something. Who knows? And I said, "Oh, well, was she like excited? Because she's like stone cold, like killer. Usually, she's like chill. She doesn't freak out. She just like is fine. Like every other time I've ever hunted with her, she's been calm, cool, collect." He goes, she was shaking so hard. He said,
Oh,
he said he said the first, she's like, she was for shaking so hard that when that first group came in, and he's like, and then when that second group came in and they were all chasing and going crazy, he's like, oh yeah, she was excited. I'm like, cannot fault a girl for that because
no.
not tell you, I know that exact feeling when you're just like losing your mind and you take the shot and you're just like, I don't know what just happened.
Oh, I start shaking my boots when I just hear them gobbling.
Oh
So
my God.
to have six toms out on a field in front of you, I mean,
It's crazy. I am the same way. It's like the birds usually roost behind us in most of the spots. And the second I start hearing them gobble, like I can just feel like I have to like physically tell myself, like, breathe, like, just take a breath and calm down, even before you see them, anything. It's just like, especially when they're on the ground and you're like, whew, okay,
yeah,
they're coming. Like, they are coming.
yes, they're coming. And you don't know when or where or like, they're similar to, I feel like they're pretty quiet. They're pretty quiet birds. And if they're coming from behind you or from the side of you, you're like, you don't want to move too much. I mean, I guess if you're in a blind, that's okay.
Right.
But yeah, all
It's
that
crazy. And even
tension.
like they can always, it's like, well, what side are they going to come from? You know what I
Right,
mean? And sometimes they'll come in silent and then you really don't know. But
right,
sometimes they come hammering. But then
right.
you can, like when they're close enough and you can hear their chest wobble and you're like, okay, they're close now.
Yeah.
They going even more. So
Uh-huh.
honestly, Teal had hunted 3 years in a row, got three birds prior to this year. She probably hunted less than 3 hours to get those three birds. So this was a nice little, hey, things don't always go as planned. And
Yeah.
obviously you don't want your kids to fail, but I was like, hey, it's all good. Like, we were going to get on more birds, probably a good lesson to learn. Like, you're
Hmm.
going to, okay. Like, I've missed before, like Levi rarely misses. Of course he has missed a few times, but it's like, it happens.
Yeah, it totally
So
happens.
yeah. And
And
then
it
it
is
kind of,
good. Sorry. It is good for them to experience that, like you said, because then they kind of have that understanding of it doesn't always come out perfect.
yeah, that's a really good thing to learn, like learning to fail. Like, that's a good thing, I think. I mean, not, you don't want them to fail all the time. They're not going to like
No.
it. It's definitely a good lesson to learn. And she was chill about it. We went, since it was Reed's birthday, we met for lunch with the grandparents and stuff like that at like a local tavern there that has like the best burgers. And we had time to like totally regroup. Like, we took the same vehicle down. So like I was just driving around waiting for them to be done. And then I went and picked them up when they had to wait for them birds. The birds didn't even run away. They just were all messing around in the field. Like, Levi's like, we're never gonna get out of here because these toms didn't even go away. Like,
Yeah.
they're just hanging around. They won't come in, but they're not like going away. Eventually they were able to get up and get out of there. And I picked them up and we're like, okay, now we're gonna regroup. And then we decided to leave that property alone because all six of them birds had seen their decoy setup. So we're like, Reed and I set up, only that one bird that we killed had seen the setup. And
Mhm.
then there was a couple other birds across the field that may have seen it, but only two toms. There were three total, and the one was dead. And I knew there was way more than that many toms there from what we heard in the morning. So we had lunch, regrouped, and then Levi's mom took Reed. So he went to hang with them, with
Yeah.
grandpa and Teal, and then we went out with Teal for the afternoon. So in the same spot that Reed and I went to. And once we, like, right when we got there, we were glassing to make sure when we walk in, because it's that big open field. Like, we have
Mhm.
a way to take the woods to go in the back way, which is awesome because Levi did see there was two birds in the field, like in the corner when we got there. So we like snuck back and got in the blind, and Levi like crawled out there and put the decoys out. So, and then they were just messing around. I mean, there was a ton of birds. We watched them all afternoon. I mean, I think at one point we counted, I think there was 10 toms
Oh my
and
gosh.
at least 16 hens. And they were all on the far side of that field, just like all grouped up yet. Like
Yeah.
normally, I don't, it seems weird. Maybe the weather's weird this year, but that's a huge group. I
That is a
mean,
big group.
generally about like this time, not always. I mean, I guess every year's a little different, but that's like a really big group for normal. So I'm just like, I don't know, I don't think they're going to want to leave all them hens. So I think we got out there at like 2 o'clock and it was like 6:30, we're all just hanging out there. Like, well, at this point, we're literally just going to see where they roost. We already had a plan for the morning where we were going to go sit on the ground and try to shoot them that way, because I thought if they're all roosting on that far side, why don't we get closer to them the next day so they don't have to come across the field? If they want to be on that side, let's go to that side, you know? It's
Right.
easy to set up in the morning then. Um, and finally we had Levi's like, oh, there's two toms there and they gobbled for us. And he's like, well, I don't know, let's see. And he's like, they're kind of headed our way. And I'm just like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if they're gonna, why would they leave their crew?
Right.
And they actually did end up leaving the crew, and we had two toms. Just we gobbled at us, and we're just like, well, why don't we just like wait and see what they're doing? They just kept coming at us. I'm like, well, we're not going to talk. We're just going to let them come. And once they got up over the ridge, that we're like, once they stay, as long as they keep coming, we're not going to talk to them, because once they get here, they'll see our decoys in hopes that they either want to come fight or come hang out with our little crew over here. And
Right.
they up they sometimes you get them like I don't know if you ever had them like bum rush in, where they come in and just take the shit out of your decoys.
No, but I've
That's
seen it.
that's what they normally do. So like that's the normal kids, like the U season. That's the program. Like normally they come in and beat the shit out of our decoys. This season was different. This guy, they broke the hill. It was two times, and the one didn't go and strut at all, but the other one was strutting like the whole time, just like Reed. It's like he would strut and then kind of walk and then strut, and the other one just like hung out next to him. So I'm like, that one is definitely dominant, the one that's strutting.
Right.
And he had like this insanely bright white head, which was like really cool. Like I feel like a lot of times they're red, and I think I've Googled on what means what. I think like the blue and the white means more of like a lovey like head, like, and then the red is like when they're mad or like scared or something. I could have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere along that line. But it was like crazy because he just had this like fully white head. And I kind of looked at Teal and I'm just like, like, are you ready? I'm like, they're coming. They're going to, this is, like, we're going to have time too, because they're coming in slow. They're chill. And then she kind of like gave me that face. I'm like, are you freaking out? I'm like, don't freak out. Just take a breath or whatever. She's like, my arms aren't shaking, but my legs are shaking.
Oh,
I'm just, well, take a deep breath. I'm like, you're going to have all the time in the world here. I'm just like, you're good, And
yep.
then finally they got in close enough, and with Levi there too. Like we have one of those like see-through blinds.
Yep. Like
Yeah,
a
you know,
360 one.
yeah. Well, I think the whole thing's not see-through, but the front part is.
Okay.
So like back isn't like that see-through mesh stuff. It's kind of weird to try to like, you can move around a lot, which is great.
Yeah.
But like you're trying to like watch birds, like it's like weird because you almost have to like open up like the windows to get like a real good view of them. So
Yeah.
like myself in the right position to watch or whatever. And her bird did that same strut thing. And I'm like, let's wait till they were doing the head thing too. And I'm just like, oh, like they were like going behind each other and
Uh,
stuff. And we didn't want her to shoot both of them.
right.
So it felt like it took forever for them to like get separated. And then I'm like, well, just wait. I'm like, whenever you're ready to shoot, you can shoot. I'm like, but wait for him to like face us. Cause I feel like that side profile, like it's not a big, like I always feel like it's easier to miss when they're side like that. If there's face on, you get a little bit better of a shot. And she took the side strutting shot and dropped it. I'm like, okay, well, it wasn't facing on, but way to go, girl. We don't
Yep.
care.
Nailed it.
Like, yeah, nailed it. I like we actually like all like Teal and I like screamed because we were like so excited. We were like, yes, and and that other Tom, they hang around, and he was like there, and he was just like, and Levi just goes into like Levi mode and starts like talking to the Tom, like trying to like keep it cool, and like Teal and I are all excited. I'm like, oh man, sorry, we probably blew up that bird already, but
Yeah.
he did hang out for a little bit. He didn't like scatter right away, so
Huh.
maybe he didn't know what the hell was going on, but
Yeah.
this,
That's so fun. I'm sure all that adrenaline too, that adrenaline rush of watching them come all the way from past the hill, you
yeah.
know, getting to the hill, coming to you. Like that's so much time
All
to
the way.
sit there and start shaking.
Ah, I know. I think for her, because she was behind the gun. For me, I'm just kind of like, are they? I've seen it all there. I feel
Right.
like I've seen them hold up. Even with Reed's bird, I'm like, that bird isn't even going to come in. He's just going to hold up, and eventually he's going to be like, well, if you're not coming to me, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And you just never. I try not to let myself like freak out anymore. I'm just like, well, it could happen or not, And but it's like when you're a kid and you see him coming across it, that I'm sure she was like, when I was like, oh, he's coming. I'm sure her heart just like goes skyrocketing. But it was perfect. It literally couldn't, it was like she sat the whole dang day for, that bird, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
Cool, because I got to be there. If she would have
Right.
killed one in the morning, then I wouldn't have got to be there. So,
Yeah, it all worked out the way it
yeah,
should have.
yes.
Oh.
And we got to sleep in Sunday.
Oh, love when it works out that way.
Yes, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned that did you say Teal has been this is her fourth year?
Yep, this is her fourth year. Yep.
Okay. Um and Reed's third year. So what made you decide that they were ready? Like what told you that they were ready to like be out in a blind and hunting with you?
Well, really, it was kind of Levi that was like, "Oh, you want to try to turkey hunt? Like, let's try." And at first, well, that was with Teal, and so she had to have been 6, and I'm just like, 6 years old? Like, that's what? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know, they just decided that to do it and started practicing. And I don't know if he had watched like videos or whatever, but like both our kids are great. Like they're super good kids, and they listen really, really well. I mean, kids are kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, they all have their days, but like when it comes to like important things, they've always been so good and listen really well with it. So we pretty much figured, especially Teal, I mean, she'd be ready to go.
Yeah.
So Levi just had practice with her. Um, Shooting, we just set up a paper with, the turkey head and everything in practice. And, he had her on and she was right where she needed to be. So we figured, hey, let's give it a go.
Yeah. That's awesome. What do you think was the like well actually let me rephrase that. Was there ever a piece of you that you're bringing the kids into the picture with the hunting. That's something that maybe was like your thing, yours and Levi's thing. Was there ever a piece of you that was kind of like, how are we going to navigate this with four of us, four of us hunting?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not, yeah, it was more so like, are we gonna even have enough birds like for everyone to get tags, and like this the season, or they just gotten better. Like the properties that we have so many birds now, and we've acquired like another property up by our house now that's got turkeys, and even our property. I mean, Levi shot a bird on our property last year, so we have all these extra things. But like, so we kind of reserve down there now for the kids first, and then we'll play cleanup. But I mean, there's like how many birds down there, so
There's
we
so many
should.
birds everywhere.
It's good. It's good though.
It is great. It's great. Great for anyone who's obviously a turkey hunter. So how do you and Levi kind of navigate? So maybe now I know you and I had talked prior to this about how I think didn't Teal say she wanted to hunt with Levi? Or was it opposite? Reed said he wanted to hunt with you. Was something, wasn't there a comment that was made? And they're like, one of them was like, I want to hunt with this parent. And one of you was like,
Always Teal wants to be with Levi, and most of the times Reed wants to be with me. Like
okay,
it might have been when, well, Teal won that guided trip with Clayton's Feast
that's
for
what
the
it was.
Teal was like, I'm gonna take dad with me if I win this. And then she won it, and I'm like, okay, guess you're going with dad, which is fine. I mean, I was a daddy's girl too, so
Yeah,
I 1000% get it.
yeah, yeah,
I do.
for sure, for sure.
It's
So
not like he doesn't want to hang with me, but I think that like Levi always like the first choice.
yeah, yeah, of course. I'm a daddy's girl too, still through and through. So
We
I can
get
sit
it.
with that. But okay, so with that, other than the kids like telling you who they want to hunt with or whatnot, how did you and Levi navigate that prior to them having like an opinion? Like with the two of them being involved, like how did you navigate like, oh, this is where you're gonna sit and this is where I'm gonna sit? How do you think that through? Because it's a lot of thinking. It's set up and like where you want to set up for who's gonna be hunting it and how many properties. That's another thing I want you to get into too, and I can re-ask it if you don't remember by the time we get to it. But with that let's say someone doesn't have the opportunity that you guys do with all these different spots. Like let's say they've only got a couple spots or maybe even just on the same property a couple spots. What do you suggest with multiple people hunting like one area?
Well, I think so with the kids, it was mostly Levi to start with. And because I always have to work Saturdays. And this year I was like, okay, I'm taking off for it, because for a while there it was like one kid would go first. Okay. So when we started, it was Teal was the first one to hunt that year. She got a bird. And then that second year, that would have been, I think Teal went out first because Reed wasn't sure about wanting to hunt them yet. So she ended up shooting a bird, and then Reed changed his mind and ended up shooting a bird that same year, but it was after. So it wasn't even the same weekend. So
Okay.
that was conflict. That was just like Levi's taking Teal, and Levi's dad had went with them. So it was kind of like got to both adults there, and now it's different because they're older and definitely can just be one adult with them. And we know that they know what they're doing
Yeah.
now. So that really helps. You know, with this year with having both, it worked out good that I took off, which I'll probably do from now on. And we'll just always divide like that. Even though sometime I do want to do both kids at once, like have two set up, and then because more often than not, I feel like we get more than one that comes in. So I think it'd be really cool to do the double. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not that yet. We had talked about it this year, but we're like, nah, let's just give that another year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we navigate. Not now it's just both kids. So we just have to make it we put up, I don't know, I think we have 4 blinds up right now. So we had 4 different options for the kids.
Okay.
Levi and I can run and gun, so we don't worry that much about that. So we mostly just set those up in places that like so the kids can sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we didn't, like I said, we took them down to our other spots because those are the best spots. I wanted to give them the best chance. We had been watching the property up here and just not seeing the birds
Yeah.
as much. We're like, well, let's just take them to where we know they're actually going to be in some action. Even if they don't get a bird, they can at least watch. Um, as for what was the other question about?
Yeah, so like let's say, how'd you make that decision? Because I think you said this already. Reed shot his bird and then Teal shot her bird in the same spot. How do
Yep.
you know that like you're gonna have luck there? Don't you like turkeys are so smart. Like,
Yeah, I do worry about that sometimes. But like I said, I knew there were so many times there that I always think to myself, like, okay, how many gobbles did I hear in the morning? And then how many? Because I don't know if turkeys necessarily care about hearing a shot. I've had it happen so many times that we shoot birds on properties, and like, well, they had to be around to hear the shot that we shot. I mean, it's been multiple times that we kill multiple birds on the same property, different times a day. Or I've even had it that, you miss a shot in the morning and then you just keep sitting and end up having another bird come in later. You know what
right.
like in like that particular morning, we heard so many gobbles. I was like, well, where Reed and I were, we heard all those gobbles. I was thinking, okay, 3 birds tops saw them decoys, one's dead.
Yeah.
And then to where Teal was hunting, I love that property as well. But all 6 of those birds had came into that same decoy setup. And I wasn't quite sure where else to set up there. I just thought it would be easier to put her in the blind and go back to where we were because I knew there's like all these other birds there,
Yeah.
and they're in and out of that field. And if you can just get them to see the decoys, sometimes they come in, sometimes they don't. But we thought that was our best bet.
Yeah, it's a good first tactic anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's take a few steps back and get into like the prep for turkey season. So there's 4 of you. What would you say is the first step you're taking to determine like who's sitting where?
Um, we're basically sitting in the same spot. Like we have like so we put our blinds in the same spots the past few years. Like once we
Okay.
figure out property, usually, we have changed them over the years, but the one property that, like I said, that had all those birds on that both the kids shot, we've been hunting there for 12 years. So, or more, probably more than 12 years.
Yeah.
So we get them blinds set up, and we're like, historically, we know they roost. And luckily they roost in the same areas there. Um, there's a couple of the other properties that we've kind of been like guessing on. They're a little bit newer to us. So we kind of put them here or there, but some of them are just like our tried and true.
Hmm.
That's where we line. And then if things don't go the way we want, then we maneuver and go sit, how some seasons, a lot of times Levi and I will just go sit on a tree,
Yeah.
like throughout our season because to get closer to them if we can. But the blinds, those are definitely in like vetted spots that have like consistently produced birds.
Yeah. That's kind of what Melissa and I talked about too. This podcast is sponsored by Taylor & Co. Taylor & Co. is a mother-daughter nurse duo-owned business specializing in handcrafted, all-natural self-care products and services with an emphasis on health, wellness, and holistic healing. Their products are handcrafted in Minnesota with pure, natural, and organic ingredients. They offer wellness services such as yoga classes, Reiki healing, and more. You can find them on Instagram or online at taylorandco.boutique. Melissa was saying that once you kind of have learned a piece of property, that's that. Like the turkeys might do something a little different, but they're
Right.
really probably going to keep doing year after year the same thing.
Yeah. Like there's different, like for sure. Like there's some time, like some years they'll stump us and like, why are they doing that? Like
Yeah.
they didn't do that the year before. But I feel like they're almost in like a rotation. Like you just kind of get used to what, or you just compile all the years now that we've been there. So now you kind of know, like if we put the blind here, like they always go around the hill this way, or midday they're in the swamp area and they're picking. So they'll pop in and out of that all day long. You know what
Right.
I mean? And
Right.
like this year was a little different in that generally they roost behind us, more of them do. But the amount that were on the other side, like there's usually maybe one bird on the other side. This year there was what, I mean, 10? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Crazy. So that was a little bit different this year, but it's all pretty similar. I mean, and even the other property, same. We put that blind there 3 years in a row now, and it's so.
Yeah.
But years prior, I mean, we had to figure out the other property. It's just like, you just sit around and kind of wait, try to find them in the roost in the morning, and it's like hit or miss.
Hmm.
The one morning I know I set up on that other property that Teal was at first, and I got like way too close to a bird in the roost, and that was that. He came down and he was like, "Nope."
Hmm.
So it's all just like you kind of got to figure out where they want to be, and then I mean, sometimes they surprise you and they do something totally different, but
Yeah.
more often than not, it's similar.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all about season too. Like right now is going to be different than my season, Memorial weekend in Wisconsin.
Oh,
What? That,
yeah.
oh,
Is that fourth season?
yes. Or last
That
season.
fourth I have fourth season too.
Do you?
And yeah, you're right. Because also, I mean, like I said, like I generally have not seen them in that big of a group,
Yeah.
but by fourth season, they probably won't be grouped like that. They'll
No, that's true.
usually disperse a little bit. And it's weird because the Toms, Leva and I were saying, we're like, they're not even mad at each other right now. Like they're actually just all getting along in one big group, one big happy family. And I'm like, I know that's gonna change,
Oh, yeah.
like big time. Cause and then even on that other property, them three first Toms got chased off by the second three Toms. So like even from property to property, you never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if something's not working at one property, then it's just like, okay, these birds aren't doing what we want them to do. So then we have to something else or,
Yep. Yep.
try
Yeah.
that.
For sure. For sure. What are they into right now? Are they, yeah, like you said, are they with the big group? Are they
They're like
interested in my,
doing.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's dive into like public versus private land. What are you hunting on? And well, yeah, let's just start with that. What are you hunting on?
Everything that we hunt, especially with the kids, that's all private.
Yeah.
Like we are so lucky. We have like a whole bunch of different properties that we can hunt that are private. Um, when Lee and I, like when we were turkey hunting, like prior to kids, and even when we had the kids, but the kids weren't hunting. I mean, we would always walk public. Like we talk about this all the time, how we used to run and gun, and Levi still will sometimes run and gun on his own. And I'll run and gun, but sometimes I run and gun on like our private stuff because I feel like the public isn't as good as it used to be, and I just could be wrong because I don't spend much time there anymore.
Hmm.
But I love that style of, just like get into the public, like walk to where you want to go, call, hope for a gobble. If you don't hear it, walk a little deeper in, call and wait for a gobble. And then it's like once you hear one light up, then you're like, oh shit, where am I gonna sit? What's our plan? Are we putting a decoy out or are we just sitting and hoping they come in, which
Yeah.
is that's so much fun. I mean, but we don't. I have not done that in a while. I think every like because just because we have such good properties right now that like we've been able to get it done with the properties we have, you know.
Yep. Yep.
But I've got nothing against it. I mean, if our stuff isn't working for us, I would have no problem, you know, running and gunning. That's fun too. Like
Oh
that's a
yeah.
whole different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we have the properties that we do. I mean, we can even run and gun on those too. So I can still get that same kind of rush, but not have to worry about other hunters there and yeah,
Right. Yeah.
you know, shooting your birds out from under you. I mean, there's been plenty of times on public. It's like you guys are calling the same bird. I mean, you know what I mean? And it's just like which way is he gonna go? You know?
Hmm.
Shot and you're like, oh, it didn't come my way.
Oh, that's fun though too.
Yeah. It is. I mean, and I'm glad like someday, you know, we'll do that with the kids. You like have to like, or they'll go off on their own when they're old enough. And, you know, like, well, don't mess up my hunt. You can go hunt some public or something, you know?
Right, right.
You've
Yeah.
already shot plenty of birds. Go figure out the public thing, right? We, we goof with Teal about it too because she's, you know, she's killed turkeys and this and that. Levi goes, all right, this year you don't get to sit on our good properties. We're taking you to public. And she's like, no.
Come on, Dad, you're my favorite, remember?
Yeah, you're my favorite. You gotta her though. Gotta get her
Mm.
going.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta get her going. Gotta make her think she's gotta work for it a little bit.
She did a little bit this year, you know. Even my buddy's like, I'm like, this is good for her though. It's good for her to learn that you might, you know, you got to spend some time for these birds or whatever. My buddy's like, yeah, but it only took her one day, and I'm like, touche. Like it's hot. I mean, she only had to sit one full day. You know, people like
Right.
I said, I went 4 weeks of hunting every time, every bit that I could, and still didn't kill a bird. You know, like
Yeah.
doesn't work out.
Hmm. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, so with the private land, it's not all your land, right?
correct.
So
Yep.
I posted on the Instagram page, like asking for questions that people might have about turkey hunting and whatnot. And someone had asked about tips for like asking people to use their
Oh,
private land. So what do you have any like tips for people?
oh no, I get really worried about doing that. I have a neighbor down the road and he's so nice and he waves to me all the time. I'm like, I really got to ask that guy. Like, there's no way he's going to say no, but like, I just get nervous about it. I haven't had to do it a ton. I'm lucky enough that like these people that we hunt on, like they're friends of friends or they're like really close friends that we've had opportunity. But I know people say like just ask. Like the worst thing they're gonna say is no. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I take that back. I guess we did ask the neighbor across the road. And I got a son because like we're young, so I'm like, well, I'll just Facebook message him and be like, hey, who owns this land of yours? Like, does anyone turkey hunt it? Because our birds by the house like to be across the road, and like that would be a fun way to hunt them in that field there. And I'm like, well, I should just ask. So I asked the guy, and he's like, well, I'll talk to my dad or whoever it was, and he said that someone was leasing it for deer, but also had like permission for everything else, like so turkeys and stuff like that, so we couldn't hunt it. I'm like, well, that wasn't so bad. You know, it's like it's just getting up the nerve to just ask. And it's like, and if they say no, then what does it hurt? But at least you're not sitting there thinking, like I'd really like to hunt that. I wonder, you know, if someone else is or whatever. So my suggestion would be just to just ask. And I've also heard that like asking in person, like if you can physically like go to their house and ask them rather than like a phone call or something like that, that like people are more likely to like if they see you, if they actually talk to you in person, are more likely to give you the go ahead, you know, if you have
Hmm.
so
Yeah. That makes sense. It's nice to see someone's face put a name to it and they can be like, "Oh yeah, you're, a girl. Like, yeah, we'd love for you to hunt on our
I
property,
know.
right?"
That's always like Levi. I'm like, I'll ask. Like he's like, you should ask. You know, you should ask.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Yeah, and I agree. I agree totally. I actually was driving back from looking at a property yesterday, an old like a farm field that I was offered to hunt on. And on my way home, we have a buddy who hunts just down the road here, bow hunts for deer. And I knew he knew the owner, so when I was driving past, there was a huge tom strutting with a hen out there. And I took a video and I said, Justin, I need you to call the
Just
owner of this land and see if I can sit out here for just even just for the first week. Like just give me
Yeah.
some time out there. And
They'll just give you like the week. You'll be like, okay, I just have this season. Can I, or if they have several hunters, they'll be like, okay, what week do you have? And then
yeah,
if it works out that you can have multiple, farmers don't like turkeys. You know
right.
what I mean? They're generally like, shoot them.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely shoot
Yep.
them.
Exactly, exactly. So, it did take a lot of me to ask because one, I know that that's Justin's like that's where he's leasing that land. Like he's hunting on that. I don't want to mess that up and I don't want to pretend like or like act like I'm getting my fingers in the middle of anything. But I'm like, I don't know, if he's not turkey hunting, it's not a bad thing to just ask. And he did call the owner and the owner's actually has some people like walking through it to potentially lease it out for the field for farming. So he's like, he just doesn't really want someone out there hunting right now. And I'm like, that's totally fine. I just figured I already have this other spot. I just figured I might as well ask since I saw the
Why
turkey
not?
out there.
I mean, if you can, like, just get as many. I'd rather have more spots than I like options. Like having
Yes.
options is so nice. And like we've had that too. Like that's actually how we got the other property up here by us is like a friend knew a guy and I was like I just like reach out sometimes I'm like to some of my friends that I have up here because we moved up here like 4 years ago. So I'll just like reach out to some of my friends I have up here because they know everyone, and I'm like do you know anyone that would make that like has turkeys or like would maybe want us to or want someone to hunt or doesn't have someone to hunt there? And that's kind of how I got in with the one guy. It's just like someone told someone and like, hey, call this girl. Or he actually stopped when I was rollerblading on the road and he's like, hey, are you the turkey girl? And I'm just like, I was like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. And he's just like, well, I got a place for you to hunt. He's like, call me. He's like, here's my number. Call me before season and I'll kind of show you this and that and check out my property on Onyx and you can come over and put up blinds. So like that's how we got the property that's like down the road from us.
Oh
I
my
was like, well,
gosh.
that's where Reed shot his bird last year. So
Yep. Just ask.
not hurt to ask. Like the worst thing they're gonna say is no, and then even then it's just like, okay, well, there's plenty of other people we can ask.
Right, right. Let's move into the moment that you're out there. So you've kind of talked about, the other pieces of it. How, actually, you did mention this. You said you're getting out there about 5:30 around this time of year.
Yeah, yeah. And that was probably even like I always feel like we're running late, but we had that full moon.
Yeah.
So it was like bright. It was bright already. I mean, we didn't have a problem though. We didn't spook anything. I mean, it kind of depends on like where are you hunting them? Like I know like when I was a kid, when my dad took me, like I remember the first time we went in, he had a blind set up in the woods and we got in there and of course we got in there late because like every kid is always making a parent run late. Always. I mean, we do a pretty good job, but it feels like always. And we got in there late and sure shit, like we go to like sneak into the blind and the birds of course are roosted right on top of us and we blow them out of there like you know what I mean. So I feel like it depends on like we're on a field edge so and we know that our birds roost back a ways so yeah you want to get in there at a decent time but like if you're really close or if you're even like on foot and you're just going to sit by a tree and you don't know exactly where they roost but you're trying to get in there like go early so you don't bust the birds out because that's the worst. That's literally the worst.
Yeah. Because I guess I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume that turkeys have, I mean, I know this for a fact, they have really good eyesight, but
Yeah.
I don't think they can see in the dark.
No, I don't think so either. Are they or if they can see you, I don't think they know what you are. Because
Yeah.
like there's always deer in the field too. And it's just like I feel like as long as you get there soon enough for them to be like, that's not a deer, I think we're probably okay moving around a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and once like the leaves start getting on the tree, then maybe that'll help. Like, but right now I feel like everything's like open. So it's like,
Hmm.
how can we see, Like even I had that talk yesterday or that full moon morning of the birthday that he shot at. It's like they cut some trees down at that property too. And I'm like, are they gonna like roost closer now? Like I'm like, we gotta get in there because I don't want them to possibly be roosted up farther and be able to see us walking in. So
Yeah.
like I had to I'm like, we're gonna be quiet. We're not gonna be talking on the way in. So
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have those conversations. I remember, well, even me. I mean, I'm not a quiet person at all, so I still have to be like, shh, Victoria.
I feel like turkey hunting is a little bit better than like deer. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I feel like I can get away with whispering, but like like turkeys do have good hearing, but I feel like I can get away with a little bit more there than I can when we're deer hunting. And like deer hunting, I was just like, don't make a noise, don't make a noise,
Right.
But turkey hunting, I can at least, I feel like I can, I've always been able to get away with like whispering to them because I've always like play by play, like when they're coming in and like I try to like talk to them like during everything so they kind of know what to
Mhm.
expect like that and kind of be like, mom, mom's good for you to shoot whenever you're ready. And like, I always just try to like be calm with them because I know that that's what I want someone to do with me, or what I need to internally say to myself.
Right. Right. Yeah. For sure, for sure. I was just thinking, and then I lost it. That's why I was like sitting here trying to focus on what I was thinking, and I was gonna ask you something, and I totally forgot about it. Anyways,
And it'll
um,
come to you.
it might come back. It might not. Um, I asked Melissa, in her podcast last week, we talked about um what she's using for calls. I'm curious what you're using for calls. She mentioned she likes to use a box call because it's pretty easy, and she suggests people use that too if they're just getting started. What are you guys using? Are you using diaphragm calls at all?
I do not use,
No.
they like make my mouth feel so weird. I am not good at those. I've tried. I've tried. I have a slate call that
Okay.
I bought probably 10 years ago at like the Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expo. They
Yeah.
have it, I think they still have it in Madison. We used to go every year. And I bought one there and I love it. And it's like my go-to and it's the only call I use. So I just use the slate call. I think my dad gave me a box call, like, or so there's different box calls. There's like the ones that you like go like this with.
Hmm.
I don't know. And then there's also like a box call that you like just push a button and it makes the noise. It's like it like pushes it and makes the same noise like when it goes across. So that's like another style of box call. And like those are both super good. Like they actually sound pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
they would be perfect for like a beginner. And even Slate's not super hard. I mean, there's like a little bit of learning curve with it, but and you just want to always make sure you're like I always have some kind of sandpaper with me. Because if those things get wet, forget it. Forget it. Or you get
Yeah.
like oil on it or whatever, you're like, great, this is nice. It's not gonna work now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but the mouth call would be like the best thing. That's what Levi will do both. He'll do slate and mouth call, and sometimes he'll be doing like both. Not, I mean, kind of at the same time to make it sound like there's more birds, or like he'll use a mouth call, and like if we're together, like we were on Saturday, I'll use my slate. He'll use a mouth call, and it sounds like there's more than one hen
Mhm.
there. Go that route.
That's a good
Um,
tactic.
yeah, yeah, just to kind of make it sound like, hey, we got different girls over here.
Yep.
More than they're talking at the same time, then you kind of know. Maybe we give them more credit. I don't. Maybe they're not as smart as we think they are, but like it just feels right to be like, okay, well this kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. I feel like we all look at it a little differently, but I think that's really accurate.
Yeah, and I think I really like using the slate call, but I feel like the only downfall that I've found with it is that if I'm the only person hunting and when I'm alone, to try to call and have my gun ready at the same time, it's kind of like a pain in the butt. Like
Mhm.
to try to like put the call on my knee or something like that. Or if I'm sitting on the ground, I can have it next to me and I can kind of make some kind of noise with it. And then I have the gun on my knee or whatever. But or have if we have a chair in the blind, I'll set the call on the chair and then I'll have my gun in my hands and I'll have to like reach over and make a couple calls if I feel the need to. But like yeah, I've every year I'm like, I really gotta like do this mouth call thing. And then every year I try, I'm like, that is not gonna work for me. That's terrible.
Hope
But I
I do
make
not sound like a turkey.
I make it work. I'm like, well, that one sounds like it's being strangled, so that's not happening.
They're not going to want to make their way over here.
They're gonna run for the hills.
Oh, that's funny. I remember my dad used to have turkey calls like in the fridge. He'd leave them in the fridge and I'd just pull them out sometimes and just use them. I would like, I would like to say I probably am decent, but I don't have one. Like I actually just ordered one to, hopefully it's here by Wednesday. But
I think that's because it's a hands free. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. It would just be nice. But I do think that it takes some practice. I don't think you're just gonna put it in your mouth and just know what to do.
No, probably not. No,
Yeah.
I have yet to find one that just does it for me when I'm
Right.
making it. Like, I'm always like, well, what do I love? It just does. I watch videos. I'm like, this is not good. I don't know.
No.
No,
Gotta
slate girl for life, I guess.
Yeah, right, right. Okay, what is your tactic for when the birds go quiet? Are you patient and have you like taught the kids like patience with like we're just gonna sit and wait this out? Or like at what point are you like maybe it's time to move because they're not
Yeah.
plucking back?
I'm super patient because I know I've sat there long enough, like they're gonna come. Like the spots that that I'm talking about, it's like I know they're probably gonna come back out, but it's not gonna be till like 8 or 9. So like with the kids, like we make them wait. I mean, just because that, and if in every now and again, if a turkey gives a gobble, you're like, okay, he's in the area, you know.
Hmm.
Um, it's super hard. I feel like if like you hear nothing, you're kind of on a regular property that you don't know super well. You don't hear it and you hang out till like 9, 10. I don't know. I might be like, okay, let's take a break because let's like get out of here. If there's no birds in the field, like let's get out of here and take a break and regroup, you
Yeah.
know? More often than not, I feel like you kill them that late morning. I mean, that's like a really good time. If they don't come to you right away off the roost, if you don't have one working right away, wait it out. I mean, even it because like they'll go with their hens. Usually they roost with hens, and they get down, they go with their hens, and then I feel like either eventually they'll go breed them or either go hang out with them if they figure out they don't want to breed, if that's what period they're in. Then they'll be like, okay, well, forget you. I guess I'll go searching, and that
Hmm.
usually that is pretty good. And I mean, middle of the day can be good too. We'll get them to strike up and come out, but late morning's always been pretty good. It's be patient. Like that's a really big tip. I think people run and gun too, or they run around too much or leave too early. Maybe I should say they just, they're like, okay, well, they got down, they went the other way. Well, that's it. That's it. That's the end of it. But it isn't. I mean, there's been so many times you just sit and all of a sudden you hear one gobble. It's on the edge of the field, and you're like, "Where'd you come from, buddy?" Like you'd spend a couple hours, and he just knew you were there because he heard you talking earlier and came to check you out. And plenty of birds have been killed that way. I think like at least 3 or 4 in the last couple of years I've killed that way, just waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Be patient. The other thing too is where there's one, there's usually more. So it's like, yeah, you spook that one off or whatever. Like, I don't know, you've got a good chance of another one coming out at some point.
And like like there definitely can be a bird that isn't talking at all. We've
Yep.
definitely had them completely silent. You're like, like sometimes they'll be gobbling the roost, they'll get down and done. There's no talking after that.
Hmm.
So kind of just got to be like, well, I hope something's coming in right now.
Right.
And sometimes even they'll get close and like once they get close enough, sometimes you'll end up getting a gobble and then it'll be like the most whoa, like you've been sitting in there silence for hours and there it is and he's there now.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Like 100% be patient. I mean, I know if you're running and gunning, maybe but that's a totally different style, I guess, too. I
Right.
mean, move around and try to strike. Like sometimes, like on public, it does take sometimes to be like that close to a bird. I always felt like on public, the closer you are to them, the better chances are you have it here, like having them gobble. For some reason, it was like, you'd go to a property and they wouldn't talk, wouldn't talk, wouldn't talk, and all of a sudden you're right there. I don't know if it's because they were coming closer to you as you were getting closer to them, or if it was just you ended up running into them and you were close enough now that that bird was like it made him gobble.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, if that's what you're doing, if you're kind of doing more of like a move around, try to find birds type thing, then maybe don't sit in the same spot forever if you don't really know the property. But
Yeah.
I mean, I know like when we're on public, we do move more then. So I guess that's just a different type.
Yeah. For sure. That makes sense. Um, okay. What tips do you have to get the kids involved if like let's just say someone really wants to get their kiddos involved, maybe even just in general for any like hunting, doesn't necessarily need to be turkeys. Like, what do you suggest people do? How'd you get your kids like involved? Do you just say, how was that first conversation with
Yeah,
Teal? I'm just curious what that looked like.
I think it's most well. So the kids have sat with us before hunting, like when we
Okay.
shot birds. So they came with us to that. They've kind of seen the process. And then it kind of gets to the point where like, well, do you want to do it? And you kind of wait for them to tell you like, yeah, let's do this. And you get them comfortable with us shooting a gun. I would say like tip wise, well, there's definitely several, and I can start with like number one, make sure they have like warm gear. If it's cold, hand warmers, toe warmers, warm clothes, just like there's nothing worse than like being cold, like, or, just feeling miserable, like when you're out hunting, like that's not fun for anyone, let alone a kid. I mean, us adults can just be like, okay, well, this sucks,
Yeah.
but we know we can sit and handle it, we'll survive. But like kids don't want to do that. Like that's not fun if they're out there shivering to death. Um, Always make sure we have like snacks, like and drinks. You know what I mean? Like, so you're not out there being like, I'm starving, I'm thirsty. Like, I'm a big like plan ahead, make sure we have everything, have toilet paper because they have a runny nose. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, like cough drops. Of course, every turkey season comes around and also deer season. The kids come up with a cough and a runny nose. And I'm like, why? Why? Do we have to cough right now? So literally just like packs of like cough drops, stuff like that. I don't know, that's like pro tip. But it's like make sure they have all that stuff and you're not sitting in the blind and like, dang, like this is uncomfortable or I need this. And then like some other tips I feel like are super important are like make sure the kids like really used to like make sure they practice, like our kids, they shoot on like a turkey head target. So like it's like, and because they have that nice red dot, it's like they know exactly where to aim. Exactly. Like we, I don't know what they're called, but like, like on the neck, like where the feathers meet the neck and they're like those little like balls.
Hmm.
Do you know what they're like ugly little like, so I'm like, shoot at the neck balls. So like that's where, so it's like, it's hilarious. I think it's funny. They're not going to forget that,
Yeah.
like that's like we know where like, and I mean when I'm using, and that's another thing with teal this year is like I usually with my shotgun I cover the bird's head with the bead, so that's like different. But their gun, they know where they're shooting with it and stuff like that. So you just want to like I'm very much on like and like even on the way like driving there, I'm like you remember this is what we do during this situation and this is where we're going to shoot them, and I'm always like going over that stuff with them just to like make sure they're ready and there's no questions, like when it comes down to it, like I want them to like, I'm really very much like focusing on like, this is what we got to do. Like, don't forget this and, stuff like that. But make sure they're like ready with the gun. There's nothing weird there. Tripod, definitely. Like like we have a bog pod. It's amazing. Like it holds the gun for the kids so they don't have to try to like hold it themselves, but it still moves around so they can, get on the bird. But it just gives them like that stability because I mean, when you're shaking like that, even as adult, it's nice to have something to rest your arm on.
Hmm.
So that's huge. That's been really huge. And that red dot sight, that's been huge. Like I wish I had that when I was a kid. Like that's amazing. Like it just makes it a little easier. You just put the dot on them and I mean, in the way that site works, like you can't lift your head to like peek because then the site doesn't work. So like you
Hmm.
have, keep your head down and use that site. So that's been huge too.
Yeah, those are great tips. Really good tips. I always
It's really nice.
I go back to what Jessie Baker said in her one. Don't what did she say? She's like, don't torture her.
Yeah.
And of course she was talking about the wife, but like don't torture the kids either. Like give them a good experience. Like you said, like
Yeah.
these first few years, give them the best spot. Let them know that this is what it's like to do it. This is why we love it. Like it works with children as well.
You have to. I mean, and like I said, it doesn't always work out. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, like, Teal's still not even shot a deer with her crossbow. Like, it still doesn't always work, even when you try to when you try to do everything,
Right.
perfect. It doesn't always work. And like, so it's nice that like it's been working with the turkey stuff, but like she sees the other end too, that like it doesn't always, at least we have snacks, and like at least you have something to drink. You're not out here just like being miserable. And they sometimes, like honestly, sometimes they even bring their tablet out or like Reed's got a little game thing. If it's going to be a long sit, like turkeys are a little bit different. Like, and then of course it's usually like that first and last hour. Like if we're out hunting, like you're not going to be on your tablet like the second we get out there. It's like
No.
if we've been sitting there for a few hours and we're going to wait them out, then okay. Or like right when you get to the deer stand, it's like, okay, if you want, or like if it's an afternoon and you get to the deer stand, you're like, okay, well, they're probably not, it's like early season. They're probably not going to move till later.
Yeah.
Okay, you can like hang out on this or color. Like we've done coloring books, regular books to read, just bring something, that they can keep them busy, at least for a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the kid, like the cool thing I said to Levi on Saturday is Teal sat from, she sat that whole morning and then we took like, it probably was like a 2 to 3 hour break in the middle of the day. And then we sat dang near till it was 6:45 when she shot the bird. She didn't once say I was bored. And this is Teal, who's like normally during bow season, she's like, oh, like, are we done yet? Like she just gets bored because deer, I don't know. But like she wasn't bored the whole, she never said she was bored the whole time. She didn't go on any of her games or anything the whole time. She just sat and watched. It was like, I'm like, this is good, like that's what you aim for. The kid to not be like, they like to actually be like in it, and you're not
Mhm.
just like la da la da la, she's actually like paying attention. And luckily we had a lot of birds to watch, so that
Yeah.
helps. But that was like, I said it to Levi, I'm like, that's so good. Like she was like, had a good time. Like she, I'm glad. That's what I want to see. I don't want to like I don't want to like drag the kids out there, because I want them to do it. Like I don't ever want it to be that kind of situation where they're like, I'm just doing it because mom wants me to do it, or because dad wants me to do it. Like I want them to actually like love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. I think you're giving them all the right tools and, things to be able to love it too. I think that's it's important.
very much so.
I love it. Well, let's chat girly questions.
Oh,
Where are you shopping for your spring clothes?
my spring, like regular spring clothes.
Like spring's coming up. Where are you shopping right now?
Well, I don't really shop for, I've been shopping for summer clothes
Okay,
because
tell
I'm
me
like,
about.
look, yeah. I usually American Eagle, Abercrombie, Free People
Ooh, we love free people.
for sure. Like if it's like jeans or shorts, it's like Abercrombie or American Eagle. And then like Free People is like tops, and like I love their tank tops. I wear a lot of those for sure.
Yeah,
My
love.
favorite. When I'm not like workout wear, because that's like my normal routine of
Oh,
clothes.
same. I either look like a dirty little boy or I actually look presentable, and there's no in between.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If you could raid any celebrity's closet, who would it be?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know it's a hard one. I actually don't even know the answer.
I don't even know. I mean, who
I
would
know.
I
Let
mean,
me.
what would a celebrity like I don't know. That's a hard one.
I know.
You picked a hard one for me. I don't even know a celebrity that like
What
I
about, let's say, what about like an Instagram girly that you like follow?
that'd probably be easier, but I'm still trying to think of one that
I know.
who is it that always just has some I don't know, you always have really cute clothes. I'm always
Oh.
asking you where clothes are from. I was like, where is that? That's so cute.
Yeah, it's a problem. I really enjoy clothing.
I'm trying to think of other people that I follow who like really dress up and
I know
I'm
this
sorry.
is, I should have thought about this before I put this as a question.
Yeah. Should have been like, Kayla's probably not gonna care. She's just gonna be like
Right, right. Okay, well, we suck. No answer for that one.
oh,
Um, okay, any fashion guilty pleasure, like a love that or a look that you love that other people are probably like, that's not really my thing.
I don't know. I really like holy jeans and like holy shorts. I'm like always wearing that. Like, it'd be like dress up. They'd be like, oh, kind of dress up to this place. And I'm gonna come with my pants that are like my jeans that are ripped. Like that's my dressing up. Like people are probably like, that's kind of weird, but that's definitely my favorite. Ripped jeans and like plain tees, pretty much. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because it's like you can, well, and the thing too is you can totally elevate that outfit or just keep it casual, like toss on
Yeah.
a pair of like clogs and make it look like cute, like heeled clogs, or like toss on tennis shoes and then you're just kind of staying
Yeah.
like,
It's just like Birks and
right.
jeans and in like a regular t-shirt or like probably like a shirt that has a muskie on it. So I like half my Levi's was like, you really do not need another shirt that has a muskie on it, do you? I'm just like, yeah, I do because this one's new and it doesn't look the same. So, but
Yeah. And my thing now is like I also am not someone who loves like logos or anything like that. But
yeah.
now we know so many people who
You want to support them, right? You're like,
yes.
I need a shirt from them or hats. Like, holy cow, the amount of hats I have. The
I
kids
know.
and Levi, they just use my hats because so many of them, and I only wear like three in a
Right.
rotation. Or like not counting like which hunting hats. I have certain like a bow hunting hat, I have like a turkey hat, I've got my gun season hat, I've got those hats too, but and then
Yeah.
I've got my fishing hats, but and then I just have all these other hats that I love that I just don't ever have time to wear.
I know. I know we have so many freaking hats too. Oh my gosh. Kyle's like, I want to put a hat rack in our walk-in closet. And I'm like, it would take up the whole wall.
Do
No.
that. Levi made me one and it's not enough room. It we need more walls is what we need. Or like I've seen it on Instagram, like there's like a stack, like a way to like this. There's like this thing that you can just like stack the hats on, and you just buy a bunch of those, and you just stack them all on there. But then
Oh,
you can't see them all. You can't see them all. I'm like, I
yeah.
want to.
I need to see them all too.
Yeah, I want to be able to pick.
Yeah. Okay, what would you spend more money on? A pair of shoes or a bag?
Oh, definitely a pair of shoes.
Yeah, you're a shoe girl.
But like probably because I want to buy like Hoka's and Nikes, and like they're kind of expensive. Not like
Oh,
fancy. And Birks are kind of
I
expensive.
was just gonna say that Birks are super expensive for a
Yeah,
sandal.
yeah.
Oh,
Definitely have. I don't have a bag. Like I don't even. I don't really have a bag. I don't carry a purse. I just carry like my wallet around. I'm so not girly. I'm like Levi, can you just like hold the money or like you have the stuff, right? I don't need anything but my phone. Like,
right, right. No, it's true. And also, I think about like what I'm even carrying in my bag is just too many things that I don't need. So,
yeah. Yeah.
not
I've never
necessary.
been one of those like big purse girls that have like all the things.
Yeah.
Except for we had like when we had a diaper bag, I'd throw a bunch of shit in there, but we
Yeah.
don't have that. Thank goodness.
Okay. Shopping spree day or a spa day?
Oh, probably shopping. Probably shopping.
Me too.
Yeah. I really like to spend money. I really
Me,
do.
me
But I,
too.
yeah. Especially like clothes, like athletic wear and like stuff like that. And like, I don't know. I just love having like a nice, like new little wardrobe. Like I said, I don't wear anything like really fancy, but like, so it's just like new tank top or new pair of like jean shorts, to wear. And oh, yeah, I could totally do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Same. Um, two more. Brunch with the girls or like a movie night in?
Probably movie night in.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a stay at homer. Yeah. These days.
Me too. Sometimes I'm like, Victoria, you need to leave the house. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I know. We went through like the whole like I've got some mom friends up here and it was like all winter. I'm just like, these people probably don't even know I exist anymore. Like, because it's like, or they be doing something, and like, oh hey, like if you're not busy. And I'm like, well, we're actually ice fishing. And then like it gets to turkey season now, and I'm like, well, I really can't because we're getting up early to turkey hunt. I'm like, I promise I love you. I just like we're busy right now.
Yeah.
Like they're
And
probably like, okay, well, yeah, sure. You just don't want to hang out with us.
right. No, you're wrong. I definitely want to see my friends. It's like I just have no time.
No, I know, but it also has to like work out because it's like you only have so much time and like that I'm not working or whatever. So then it's like on those days we're like, okay, well, we're going fishing or you know what I mean? Like
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
yeah, there's just never enough time to do all the things.
No, there's not. I completely agree.
Unless maybe if you plan it with like 6 weeks ahead of time, it'll work out.
Oh,
Like if
even then, I'm kind of like, oh shit, something else came up that I really have to do.
like get to that day and you're like, why did I plan that? Like I actually just want to not do anything.
Yeah.
That's so terrible.
It is terrible, but you know that we're all thinking it.
Yeah, it happened. It's happened. We're all busy.
Right. I think I already know this answer, but let's say you didn't get a hangover from a cocktail. Coffee
Let's
date or
say.
wait, what'd you say?
I'm like, let's just say.
Yeah, let's just pretend like
Yeah.
we're fine when we wake up in our,
Yeah.
30s after a cocktail night. Coffee date or cocktail date?
Um, yeah, I would definitely have to say cocktail date for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
same.
especially like summer, like that's yeah, for sure.
Oh, give me a patio and a cold
Yeah.
drink.
Yes, or like when you're by the lake or like at someone's cabin or something, that's like
Mm.
that's
Oh, and we're so close to that season. Oh my gosh.
that's why I'm telling you, I'm already thinking like when I'm buying clothes, I'm like, oh yeah, I need a tank top, some new tank top colors, and like the same tank top I wear all day on the year, but I just have them in all these different colors from Free People. And oh, another pair of, like regular jeans with holes in them. And oh, maybe I need another black pair with holes in them too. You know what I mean? Like just a fresh pair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that. It just gets you in the mood, You're like, okay, it's coming, it's coming. So are the mosquitoes, but we
Yeah,
won't talk about
we won't talk about that.
no, no,
Oh, Kayla, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you've taught us a lot, and I hope that this has been really beneficial. I obviously don't have children, but it's still something I'm super passionate about is having the kids involved and being a part of all of the things. And I think you guys do a really good job at keeping the kids involved and wanting to do more.
Things. It makes it hectic, and I even said on the post or whatever, just like it's a lot of like planning and figuring things out and being like, okay, you just want everything to work out, and it just like for me it can be like really stressful, but it's also like the most rewarding thing like there is, and like every year, like I said this on the post that I did, I think with Tealsburg, it's like every year you really just like think like how can it get better, how can this be more fun, and every year it finds a way, and to just be like every time it happens it's just like the most fun thing ever, you know what I mean? Like I feel like every time they shoot a bird it's just like, well, that was the coolest thing that ever happened, this is the best day ever, and then when it happens the next time, we're like, actually, this is the best day ever. So it's just like, it's cool. Like there's always so many things like, oh, children this and children that. Yes, they can be a pain, but like these days, these are like definitely the days, and you look back and someday they're not going to want to hunt with mom and dad. So these are the days for sure.
Yeah. Well, I love that for you. Well, thank you for joining, and we will catch you all next time.
All right. Thanks, Victoria. Bye.
Yep. See ya. At Hartung Taxidermy, we specialize in preserving memories of the hunt or the catch. Tyler can create lifelike lasting memories that capture the essence of your experiences. What they offer? Custom taxidermy, specializing in turkeys to big game like bear, mountain lions, bobcats, and deer. We craft stunning pieces that showcase the unique characteristics of each animal. Why choose Hartung Taxidermy? Tyler is a skilled and passionate craftsman with years of experience. He creates detail oriented, lifelike creations that stand the test of time. Also, affordable pricing and a commitment to the customer satisfaction. Bring your memories to life with Hartung Taxidermy. Contact them today to schedule a consultation. Call 715-416-4008 or visit him at Hartung Taxidermy on Facebook or Instagram.